Hi everyone, I'm Lewis and welcome back to Lewis's Football Mind. I do apologise for not uploading in a while. I have just been busy with exams and etc. So I do apologise for that. But let's get back straight into a video. And today's video is going to be a Combine 11. But it does not contain any players from the traditional Big Six. So no Manchester United, no Man City, no Liverpool, no Chelsea, no Arsenal or no Tottenham players. So every other team in the Premier League is allowed to include a player in today's Combine 11, but I've made it more interesting. I can only pick one player per team. So, for example, I can only pick one Newcastle player, one Aston Villa player, one Brentford player, one Brighton player. I can't pick, for example, Brighton. I can't pick Estepinian and Matoma. That is an example. I can only pick one. So it does make it a bit harder, but also makes it a bit more interesting as well. So hopefully you agree with my picks. If not, then I do apologise in advance. But I've tried to make this as balanced, as fair as possible. I've based it on overall talent, how much this player has benefited to their team, and also current form a little bit as well. So I have based on quite a few factors, but it's just overall how much I think they have a impact on their team. So in goal, we are going for Jordan Pickford with Everton. Obviously, John Pickford is still England number one. I think John Pickford, he does get a lot of hate. He does make mistakes, but yeah, I think he's a really, really good goalkeeper on his day when he doesn't make mistakes. And for Everton, he's definitely kept Everton up in the last 2 seasons, 100%. Some of the saves he has made, you have to admit, are absolutely sensational. He is a very, very good goalkeeper. Overhated. I wouldn't say he's underrated goalkeeper, but he's definitely an overhated goalkeeper. And yeah, I wouldn't really see any other Everton player who would get into this team. Maybe Tarkowski, maybe Mikalenko at left back. Otherwise, I couldn't really see a player that could get into this team. But I think John Pickford has a massive impact on Everton's season every year. Obviously, it looks like Everton were going to be quite clear from the relegation zone this season. But obviously, that 10-point deduction has put them right back in there. So they might need John Pickford's heroics at the end of the season or throughout the season. He's already made some fantastic saves this season. So you have to keep that up if you want to keep Everton up yet again. Right back, I went for Kieran Trippier and Newcastle. Newcastle are definitely a team who are probably going to expand this traditional Big Six and probably make it into a Big Seven very soon, or replace a team in the traditional Big Six, because obviously Newcastle are flying. This season hasn't been as good last season, which is what pretty much everyone expected. Obviously, to be fair to them, they have had a lot of injuries, around 10 players out at the minute. So yeah, you can say that they have been hard done by injuries, 100%. But Kieran Trippier is always there for Newcastle. Only cost around £12 million. I think he was the first signing of the Saudi takeover, and definitely had a massive impact for Newcastle. Last season, he was definitely the best right back in the Premier League, and arguably is the best right back in the Premier League alongside likes of Walker and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Kieran Trippier always has a massive impact to this Newcastle side. He's created the most chances in the Premier League this season. So he's a fantastic player and a big, big player for Newcastle. Obviously, if Kieran Trippier gets injured, then that is probably the biggest blow of them all for Newcastle United. But Kieran Trippier, 100%, even if we're doing a combined 11 from all around the Big Six, he would get in. Yeah, so no arguments for Kieran Trippier in this combined 11. Players like Isak could have easily got in. Bruno, Tonali, obviously he's banned, but he's still a sensational player. Botman, there's so many players that could have got in. I definitely think Kieran Trippier is Newcastle's most important player. People might agree, people might not, but he is the captain, he is the leader, and he's that creates a lot of big chances for Newcastle. And he's fantastic at defending as well. So he's an all-round fantastic right back and probably Newcastle's most important player. And if he got injured, then it would be a massive blow. But yeah, no arguments really for Kieran Trippier at right back. So next we'll go to centre back. Centre back number one, I'm going for Joachim Andersen of Crystal Palace, who's had a fantastic season so far for Crystal Palace. there is other players who I could have put in. Obviously, Mark Gahey is a fantastic player, definitely a one for the future as well and the present. Eberici Eze, Michael Olise. There's a lot of players who could have got into this team, but I think Anderson's been fantastic this season. One of the best centre backs in the league, and probably the best centre back outside the traditional big six this season. He's had a wonderful season so far, and definitely deserves to be in this combined 11. A really talented centre back. So next we will go to centre back number 2, and it is Max Kilman of Wolves. This one was tough because there was another player who I wanted to put in, and that was Pedro Neto, who has had a sensational season before that, picking up that injury against Newcastle. But he's had a fantastic season. I think Max Kilman's had a good season as well. I think Wolves have definitely exceeded expectations so far this season. They have been hard done by with some decisions as well. So I think they've done really well. Gary O'Neill has definitely got a winning mentality, and they picked up some really, really big wins. They got a draw against Newcastle, they beat Manchester City, and they beat Tottenham at home. So they've definitely got some big results so far this season, and they've definitely exceeded my expectations. I thought they would go down, my opinion, but it doesn't look like it so far this season, and I don't think they will. I've definitely changed my mind on that one. But yeah, Max Kilman's definitely been a big part of that. Obviously, Wolves losing a lot of players in the summer, but Max Kilman staying around has definitely helped Wolves, and it could help Wolves throughout the season. So yeah, he's had a fantastic season so far, and definitely deserves to be in this combined 11. But again, it was close between him and Pedro Neto. Obviously, there's players like Lamina who could have got in as well, who are also very talented footballers. But I think Max Kilman is definitely one of those most important players. So left back was probably the toughest because I did this one last. I picked everyone else except left back. So this one was tough because I used all the really good teams and all the really good left backs. This was tough. I was going to pick Estepinian for Brighton, but there's another player who I want instead from Brighton in this team and will be in later on. So I went for Milos Kerkez of Bournemouth. This was really tough. Obviously, he's been okay. I watched him a lot. Obviously, moved to Bournemouth in the summer from AZ. So yeah, he hasn't really shown what his potential yet for Bournemouth, but he's definitely a one for the future. Only 19 years old as well. Really good left back from Hungary in the Hungarian national team as well. So there's definitely a quality player in Milos Kerkez. It's just about finding the right setup for him and giving him time to adapt to the Premier League. But yeah, definitely a one to look out for the future. So next we will go. I'm playing two CDMs. There's two CDMs who I definitely think deserve to be in this team, and they are Joao Palhinha of Fulham and Douglas Luiz of Aston Villa. We'll start with Palhinha. Obviously, missed out on that dream move to Bayern Munich in the summer, but he has reacted very, very well, very professional. Hasn't just said, "Oh, I'm not going to try this season. I'm just going to wait till January, get the move to Bayern or somewhere else." No, he's made the most tackles this season out of any player, and he has proved yet again, like last season, that he is one of the best CDMs in the Premier League, and definitely a key asset to Fulham, and would be a massive miss if Fulham are forced to sell him in January. Obviously, if they did sell him in the summer, they would have got around £80 million, but they would have had a massive gap in that midfield. And if they lose Palhinha in January, Fulham could be like sinking down a bit. To be honest, but yeah, you do feel bad for Palhinha, but obviously you have to respect his professionalism and his attitude. But he is a sensational CDM. But obviously he is a bit older. He's around 28, 29 years old now. If he's definitely younger, I think all the big six will be chasing after him, begging for him. But obviously as he's a bit older, he isn't as wanted as other young CDMs, but he's definitely a very talented player. And there isn't really another Fulham player who I could put in here, to be honest. There isn't really a convincing Fulham player that could like edge it over other players in this team. So I definitely think Joao Palhinha is Fulham's most important player, especially after Mitrovic leaving for Saudi Arabia. So next CDM, obviously Douglas Luiz, who has had a sensational start to the season for Aston Villa. What a player! He's been superb under Unai Emery, and he's really impressed. He's got more goals this season as well. He's created a lot of chances as well, and he's been a big part of that Aston Villa midfield. Alongside the likes of John McGinn as well, who I did consider putting this team, but I thought Douglas Luiz has been sensational this season as well, and he's been a real asset for Aston Villa. Loves scoring at Villa Park as well. So yeah, he's definitely improving, and he's definitely went under the radar this season. He has been probably one of the best midfielders in the Premier League so far this season. Just obviously doesn't get talked about a lot compared to likes of other big CDMs. But yeah, he's really impressed me so far this season, and who knows, he might get a big move next summer. But obviously Aston Villa are playing absolutely brilliant this season and are fourth, I believe, at the minute in the table. So they are doing absolutely superb. So next up is Morgan Gibbs-White in Nottingham Forest. I did consider likes of James Ward-Prowse, Mohamed Kudus, Lucas Paqueta of West Ham players, but there is another player from West Ham who I'm putting in later on. Morgan Gibbs-White, really talented player, joined for around £40 million to Nottingham Forest, and he's definitely been a real asset to this Forest side. Creates a lot of chances. Doesn't score a lot of goals, but definitely creates a lot of chances for Nottingham Forest as well. And he's a really important player as well. I can see him definitely getting a bigger move in the future. Maybe not yet, but maybe in the next year or two when he keeps growing as a footballer. So yeah, really crucial player for Nottingham Forest. Morgan Gibbs-White is. Again, not really any other real player I would consider for Nottingham Forest. Maybe Taiwo Awoniyi. That's probably it. Maybe Sangare. Otherwise, I think Morgan Gibbs-White is a very good footballer and one of Nottingham Forest's most important players. So we'll start with left wing, and this is why I didn't put Estepinian in, because I put Kwame Matoma in instead. And what a player he is. He could easily play for a top 6 club, in my opinion. His dribbling is sensational, one of the best dribblers in the league. Doesn't score a lot of goals, doesn't get a lot of goal contributions, but if he can definitely up that in his game, then a big 6 club will be begging for his signature, and it will definitely be another payday for Brighton, who could get a lot of money for this guy as well. He's a really talented footballer, really good attitude, really fast as well. He can play anywhere on the left wing. He can dribble past players, he can shoot, he can pick out a pass, he can do almost anything. Just obviously some areas where you think, oh, you can improve a bit. But he's definitely a player to watch out for the future, and definitely a player at the top 6 will be chasing for in the coming future. So right wing, I went for Jarrod Bowen of West Ham. This one was tough. Jarrod Bowen's had a sensational season. He has scored in the last 6 Premier League away games for West Ham. The first 6 Premier League away games for West Ham this season, which is a sensational record. I don't even think any other player in Premier League history has done that. So really impressive start of the season for Jarrod Bowen, who has exceeded all expectations as well. Looks really good, and he could definitely be up there for an England call-up to the Euros next summer if he keeps up these stats. But yeah, this one was tough. Obviously, Pedro Neto was the closest person I was going to put at right wing, but I thought Bowen just edged it for me. I feel like Neto is more of a flair player, but Jarrod Bowen gets the goals to back it up. So that's why I picked him. And obviously I put Max Kilman in for Wolves as well. It was tough. I thought one of West Ham's midfielders could have got in. I feel like West Ham have a very good midfield, especially after Declan Rice and buying the likes of Kudus and Ward-Prowse and Alvarez with the money from Declan Rice. So yeah, this one was kind of tough, but I feel like Jared Bowen is a fantastic footballer and definitely deserves to be in this combined 11. So finally, striker, and people might criticise us here because he isn't playing at the minute. But I went for Ivan Toney, easily one of the best strikers in the Premier League when playing. Obviously back in January, obviously because of that betting ban, he can't play until January. I'm not sure if he'll go back to Brentford, stay at Brentford, or if Brentford will sell him and a big club will get him. Brentford do want a lot of money, I believe around 80 to 100 million pounds. Big six clubs like Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal have had links with Ivan Toney. So yeah, he's definitely going to be a wanted player when he comes out, and he's such a talented player as well. If he can kick off and get his form back straight away, then maybe he could get an England call up for the Euros if he performs like he did before his ban. Ollie Watkins was the closest. Obviously, I went for Douglas Luiz at Aston Villa. There wasn't really a Brentford midfielder that I could have really went for. I feel like Brian Mbeumo, I probably didn't say that right, so I apologise, but he's been fantastic this season. Johan Wissa, but they are more strikers, more centre forward players. So Ivan Toney, yeah, it'll be a big boost for Brentford when he comes back, if he does stay at Brentford. Who Brentford have had a okay start the season, just around mid-table, haven't really exceeded last season's expectations yet, but last season they were unbelievable, definitely. So yeah, even a mid-table finish for Brentford this season has exceeded expectations from where they were around 5 years ago. So credit to Brentford, who are a very respectable football club. But this one was tight. I feel like Evan Ferguson could have a shout. He just doesn't start every game. So not yet. Really young, only 18. So definitely in the next few years, he will be growing up the pecking order. Ollie Watkins was definitely the closest, who has had an absolutely superb start of the season with Aston Villa. So yeah, that is my combined 11 of non-Premier League Big Six. So no Big Six players and only one from the rest of the Premier League teams. It was really interesting. It was quite hard actually, but I do enjoy it. I definitely enjoyed it more than putting like 3 Aston Villa players in, 4 Newcastle, 4 Brighton, and then just one from the other ones. It's definitely good to see more creative side to these videos, and giving players who don't normally get the credit they definitely deserve. And there's definitely some good, really talented footballers in this side. So I hope you enjoyed it. I could do something similar in the future, even make it a bit harder. The next video I'm going to do is a Big Six combined 11, but only 2 players from each team. So I couldn't put 5 Manchester City players in, 4 Liverpool players, and like 2 Arsenal in. I have to do 2 from City, 2 from Liverpool, 2 from Arsenal, 2 from Chelsea, 2 from Spurs, and then one team will just have 1 player in. So make sure you watch that when it comes out, which will be in the next day or 2. Hopefully getting back to publicizing some YouTube videos and uploading them. Obviously not 6 videos a week. I do apologize for that. But yeah, even if I can get 1 to 3 videos a week, it's better than none. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.